All right, guys. This is going to be Capriani's request for the month. I'm surprised we haven't done this before, but I don't think we have. We've heard this song before, but not by this singer. Adagio in G minor for strings and organ is a neo-Baroque composition commonly attributed to the 18th century Venetian master Tommaso Albinoni. Actually composed in the 20th by the 20th century musicologist and Albinoni biographer Remo Giazzotto. Purportedly based on the discovery of a manuscript fragment that was written by Albinoni. There is a continuing scholarly debate about whether the alleged fragment was real or a musical hoax perpetuated by Giazzotto. But there's no doubt about Giazzotto's authorship of the remainder of the work, which is what I assume is more commonly performed now. Lara Fabian wrote lyrics to the melody in Italian and English. We have heard the cover by Flor Jansen on this channel, but as far as I know, we've never listened to Lara perform the songs. Correct. In this performance, she showcases again her unique gift to add so much emotion to her singing that is almost palpable. I would argue that it's immensely palpable. Let's listen. Lara Fabian, Adagio. Before we continue on, I want to draw some attention to some of the really cool vocal things she does. We've listened to a lot of Lara, and so I think it's definitely worth digging more into the nuances of her singing, the very fine details. Whenever she starts a phrase, especially at the beginning of this piece, in this first and second verse, you'll notice she starts off with a very percussive vocal fry. You'll hear that crackling in the voice when she starts the phrase. Right there, right? All of these nights without you. All of my... It's how she does a vowel onset, which a lot of times we'll call it a glottal onset. But a glottal is not a language thing. A glottal is a technical thing. Now, she's not doing a glottal when she starts out with these words that start with vowels. She's starting off with the fry. A glottal is more like a but she's starting out with the fry. Which is a way to accentuate the vowel at the beginning of the phrase without putting a harsh percussion and allowing the breath to move. So the breath is actually moving while it creates that percussive onset rather than pushing through the chords. She's going, ah, ah, right? So that's a very key distinction in how she's approaching the flow of breath. The flow of breath is everything in these phrases. And it also allows her to have more flexibility of timbre throughout the phrase. Because you'll notice when she starts with that fry onset, she also pulls back and changes the timbre completely by the end of the phrase. All of these nights without you. That's because she sets up this phrase with moving air, not a percussive hit of air. That's how she's able to do that. It's incredibly difficult, especially when you're weaving all of these different timbres into the phrase. So much subtlety, but a lot going on, even in the most simplest of starting phrases. Really beautiful. Yeah, amazing mix. This is all mixed. All the stuff in her middle voice is very mixed because it allows for, if you're gonna not mix in the lower voice, for the stuff that she does higher up, which we're gonna hear later, it becomes impossible if you're not mixing in this middle area. I see and I touch your face. I fall into your embrace. When the time is right, I know you'll be in my arms. I close my eyes and I find a way. No need for me to pray. I've walked so far, I've fought so hard. Nothing more to explain. I know all that remains is a piano that plays. If you know where to find me, if you know how. The lowest parts of her voice, she doesn't dig into it. She keeps it breathy. She keeps it heady to allow the flexibility to go up to what we're about to hear. If you know where to find me, if you know how to reach me, before this light fades away, before I run out of faith, be the only man to say that you'll hear my heart, that you'll give it your life, forever you'll I mean, come on, dude. There is so much going on. We call her the Ring for a reason, you know? Check this out. Despite the fact that the sound stays and feels sustained and consistent, it feels like a static sound, right? But look at what she's doing to evolve in that sound itself. Look at how she physically is changing in a way that allows that sound to stay static, that also gives her flexibility to pop up to that second high note, which is completely surprising and shocking, amazingly virtuosic. When her mouth changes. It's keeping that all inflexible, or sorry, keeping that all flexible. If it were rigid, if she were holding a position, she wouldn't have the flexibility to A, sustain that much power in the sound and keep the sound and raise the pitch on the same breath. It's really, really fantastic. It's engaged at every second. Every moment is so heavily engaged and intentional. Planned out, meticulous, beautiful. How does she keep surprising us like that? I don't know, man. This video is like decades old, and it's still one of the most powerful concert recordings ever. Oh my God, dude. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. The level at which she uses her body and plays her body like an instrument is like that of a professional dancer. Like, she literally plays her body like an instrument to evoke those sounds to get the result she's going for. And it's so much movement in tune with the music, along with the music, that allows her to produce this sound vocally, right? But it's all a body thing. As you pointed out, Lance, it is a center of gravity thing. She adjusts to do the sound, but it's also, it's balletic in the way she does it. It's like so choreographed and so finely tuned. Let's just enjoy this last sequence. That last breath at the end is such a, that's your pure release of tension. It's building up, building up, building up, building up, building up. She creates this illusion of tension with the sound she creates, the intensity of it, as does for us as listeners, and then releases it all in that one moment after the music stops, and it allows us to relax in this very like ecstatic moment. Absolutely gorgeous. I'm sorry to hear that, Eve. That's such a bummer. I'm sorry that between the time you announced it and told us, and then the when you just told us she got sick, that's terrible. Well, I hope she's feeling better, and I hope you get to see her soon. Pretty mediocre, no. I want to point out there is a little bit of an inefficiency in this last high note, but the only thing it really contributes to as an audience listener, a technical inefficiency. It's very, very hard to portray, but there is a slight escape of air through the closure of the chords. But what that translates to us as listeners as is just a more dramatic and emotional and sound, right? It's that inefficiency that gives us the pain that she's experiencing. bit of white noise in the sound, the little coming through the chords. But again, it just contributes to the intensity of the sound that we perceive as listeners, the dramatic intensity. Absolutely stunning. I've been waiting so long for that recording because I knew it was there. We haven't done it yet. So happy with it. Oh man. Thank you, Capriani.